Well, hello there. This is Frenchie, aka Lou the Frenchy Manette, and you're listening to Norton Consultation. On with me, as per usual, is Soda. And hey, we got struck by lightning. It's Liz Shannon Miller. How you doing today?
Oh, great. Thank you very much for having me.
Well,
of course. It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure for sure. All right, so let's go right into it. We usually start with this question. We are curious to know, how'd you begin with Schmodown? Like, what was your first introduction, and how'd you get bit?
I mean, it's I think a known thing that my good friend Ethan Irwin had been. I basically had heard, oh, Ethan's been doing this thing. He's been doing apparently pretty well at it. You should try it as well. And that was from Ethan's wife, Meredith, who strongly encouraged me to participate in the Schmodown. And so I ended up getting in touch with Christian and got kind of thrust into the mix of things. And only basically after doing it a year did I actually really feel like I came to comprehend the full spectrum of what it is to be part of the Schmodown. But it was a wonderful year that first year, and this year has also been my involvement with the Schmodown has been really fun this year.
I bet.
The rest of 2020 can maybe go suck a butt, but the Schmodown has been fun.
You've heard it here. Liz Shannon Miller said suck a butt. All right.
I'm gonna basically do what I can to get rid of my squeaky clean image.
Oh, perfect.
Hey, and us too. We got the reputation of Canadians being polite. Well, we're just polite, and we say things behind the curtains that are not polite. So yeah.
Or sometimes we start each other in another language so nobody understands what we're saying.
Toi là, t'arrêtes, Colin. All right, so let's go with your first match against Demi. What was going through your head? Like, again, you weren't too familiar with Schmodown. What were you expecting, and what was the feeling you had after the match?
I mean, it was just really fun. Demi was a wonderful competitor. He's just I think universally what I've my favorite Schmodown moments are the ones where I share them with people who I genuinely find to be enjoyable people. And I was honestly I was starstruck. I was a huge Demi fan already. Every September 21st, I sign up. I look at the internet and hope to see something amazing, and I'm never disappointed. So competing against him was kind of mind blowing, and then winning felt good. It was okay, yeah, I'll chase this feeling. I'll go after this.
Right. And now, for your other, your other matches, you got Devil the Real, but I think your first real test, let's say, was JTE. Were you aware of what JTE has accomplished and, exactly what kind of opponent you were against, or, you were going on blind?
I mean, I hadn't seen any of his previous matches because, again, I was very new. I didn't have a faction. I didn't have a manager telling me, hey, you should study his game tape, that sort of thing. I was just I'll just waltz in. But I did know that there's a goddamn rule named after him. His head is on every match. I knew he was a big deal, and I mean that match was a lot of fun. I still felt a little bad about it because to this day, because I will never, the wheel is the wheel gives, the wheel takes. And in that particular instance, the wheel really gave unto me, and the wheel also really screwed him over. And I feel bad about that because, you never like to see that happen. But yeah, it was an interesting match for me. But it was a pleasure to meet him. He's a wonderful person, and I hope he's doing well.
Yeah, he's like a good dude, and definitely one of the most lovable from everything I've seen of him, especially in the old Schmo show. Going into your match against Paul Oyama, that was your first really big match. What was that like?
I mean, honestly, it's a bit of a blur because it was also my first live match. Yeah. And he was really good. I think honestly, the only memory that I have from it was just like, I think noticing him come out with his faction and being like, well, Lottie, that's fun. Like, congratulations to you, sir. I didn't know I could bring all my best friends. And in retrospect, I feel like people always are, trying to say, oh, she seemed intimidated or so forth or so on. In that particular case, I will say, like, it was a little intimidating to be sitting on my own at the desk and then have him walk out with this parade of dudes.
Yeah, especially that parade of dudes.
Yeah. No, it was like, it was a lot, and I was on my own, and it's one of the reasons why, like, I really enjoy having a faction now. Like, I know that will never happen again.
Now, talking about faction with the Switch, when you got approached by Swag, or you knew you were going to be with Swag, what was your thoughts? Did you see immediately, oh yeah, Winston can work, or it's after time and conversations you knew there's a click between you two?
I mean, I feel like the story has been told a little bit before, but basically, I didn't really know what I was in for, just being a part. Because again, I'd never been a part of faction, so I was just like, okay, I'm a part of a faction now. What does that mean? And Winston and I met up for a beer, and Winston proved to me what a great manager he is, because he basically was very frank with me, and he said, I can tell you don't want to play. You're not in this for like the opportunity to trash talk and all that. Let me do that for you. But also, basically, he was like, he wanted me to be. He was there to encourage me to be the best character I could be, the best player I could be, and also he promised to do that by whatever felt right. So he totally lived up to that. He's been really my my quarter man in all of this, and it's been really wonderful.
Yeah, and now that you have the manager, and he seems to teach you a bit like the strategy, and you seem to have to be on your own style now, right? Is there something that you learned now with learning strategy and everything you would have done differently in the past without having a manager?
I think I definitely would have thought more. The way in which I approached putting slices on the wheel would have been different. And that's actually not just a testament to Winston as a manager, but my whole faction as a team. Like everyone on my faction has been so wonderful, just in terms of offering advice and looking at the wheel options and suggesting this person might be better at this or worse at that. Like, I honestly, in the lead up to a match, my personal feeling is the only really significant strategy play is what you put on the wheel. I don't know how other people feel. That's just the way I feel. But whatever you put on the wheel, that's like your biggest strategy play. And thus, having people with me to discuss those choices and figure out what the best options are is great. Even though, like, sometimes it's just like blind luck. Again, the wheel giveth, the wheel taketh away. Like the wheel is the wheel.
No, fair enough. So, with the way the season has gone this year, transitioning into the digital era, how has that been for you? Like, has it been better for you? Has it been worse for you?
I mean, it's hard to say because, like, if I could compare having a season where I was part of a faction, had that level of support behind me, versus a season where I did not have a faction, had that level of support behind me, in studio. I basically, it's like, I know I've done very well this season. But I can't say whether or not it's because of being on my couch versus being in a studio, or I can't say it's whether because I was in a faction versus whether I was outside of a faction. That being said, I like the combination thereof, and if when we go back into the studio, I will be fine with that. I will say, I like writing my answers down on paper versus the whiteboard.
Really?
I think it's because the act of wiping off my answer on the whiteboard in between answers is it's just like that one extra thing you have to think about and care about. And it's so much simpler just to flip the paper over on my reporter's pad.
It's a small details you wouldn't think about, right? But when you're in the action and you have to think about 10 billion things, those kind of things do make a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if a lot of other competitors feel the same way, because I noticed there's a lot of competitors that also are using legal pads or note cards and stuff. I wonder if it's for this similar reason.
You would have to ask them. I just that my mother actually, my mother, who has become a big Schmodown appreciator, she's a wonderful cheerleader. But she offered me a small whiteboard when I was at her house last. We are in each other's quarantine bubbles, and she offered me her whiteboard. And I was like, no, I'm good. I'm good with my reporter's notebook. Like, it's served me well thus far.
Yeah, no kidding, eh? Don't fix what ain't broke.
I was about to say the same thing.
I'm pretty superstitious at this point. Like, there are multiple reasons why I keep wearing the hat. One of them is, that.
You're talking to two people who follow a sport that's all about superstition, hockey. You tuck in your jersey a certain way. You hit the. So
if you're on a win streak, you don't change your underwear.
Yeah. So superstition is a part of a part of our culture as well.
Goalies talk to their posts. The funniest one was a goalie in the '60s, Glenn Hall, used to throw up before every game and during every period out of nerves.
Well, that's less of a superstition and more like go see the doctor. But anyways,
and Hockey Hall of Famer. So it must have worked.
And talk about superstition. One thing I'm seeing back and back is in your reels, your cats, right? Why integrate your cats into the reels itself? Why not just do it about you?
I think my cat's cool.
Yeah.
That's kind of honestly, I just think it's fun. Like again, I'm in quarantine. I live alone. I have my cat that I'm with 24/7. So a lot of my day, honestly, is just talking to her, and I'm just bringing that into the promos at this point. I will share that my Adam Collins promo has been recorded, and I am curious. I sent them 2 versions, and I'm very excited to see which version they use.
Nice. And
I just want to say, I will admit, one of my favorite things that happened this year is seeing the integration of the animals in the promos and stuff. I love it
across the board. It's wonderful. Yeah. I love seeing all the cats and the dogs and whatnot.
Yeah. Like you said, they're part of her everyday, routine. I got my old Billy, like sack of potatoes, that's going blind. His 14-year-old cat. Yeah, he's the most adorable cat ever. But animals are part of our lives, right? So hey, if we can put it a part of a Schmodown, one day I'll bring him on screen. One day.
Sadly, I live with a strata board that refuses to let us own pets, so I'm currently petless.
Yeah.
I know, right? Once the one person's off the board, I guarantee you it's going to be passed that we're allowed pets. I guarantee it.
All right, and now I'm looking right now at your Wikipedia or matches. There's a lot of competitors on there that you've faced. I'm not interested in knowing probably like the best, like the one that was the most fun to watch, etc. But for personal reasons, what is your favorite match that you've played?
Honestly, I'm gonna say my most recent one with William Viviani, because mostly just because both of us came in knowing that the other person, he says it. I'm not, tooting my own horn, but he said, he was expecting great things from me. I was expecting great things from him. It was just a lovely civil match.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any rule against me saying this, but there's a little bit of a snafu in round 3 where I got asked a question from an incorrect category.
Okay.
And it was one of those things where I got asked a question, I got it wrong. And Bibbs was the one to say, that's not the right category. Like, you asked her the wrong question.
Oh, wow.
And they cut it out. It's on in the match.
Yeah.
And they asked me the correct question. I got it right.
Wow.
So it's one of those things where William Bibiani is a gentleman and a mensch and a wonderful human being, and it's a pleasure to play against good people. Like,
yeah,
I understand that the Schmodown is built on the idea of, you want heroes, you want villains, and you want this battle, but at the same time, like, the thing that makes me so happy to be a part of this is playing with and against good people. That's what makes it fun and enjoyable for me.
Yeah.
Is
so basically, what you see is what you get with Bibbs, pretty much, eh?
Oh yeah, I would say. I mean, I feel like he is. I think he knows how to play the game. He's a good game player. He in all that, but he is in general. Like, most of the people I've interacted with in the Schmodown have been wonderful humans, and yeah, he's definitely one of them. So I feel like I never can say enough about how great Bibiani is, because he's so sweet.
Yeah, he's definitely, like, in the terms of the Schmodown, he's definitely one. I put him in the 5 people I'd want to sit down and have like a drink with. Just to, yeah.
And you will learn so much about movies and TV when you do so.
Right? I know. That's the beauty part.
And talking about chivalry and the community itself, a recurring element that seems to come back often when we do these interviews is how much, like, almost people found their family, how much, like, they found this very, sorry, lasagna's baking in a bag, so my bad.
No worries.
But yeah, so how much they found the family and the community. Is there some insights of, like, you found your community? Any examples of what you can give us?
I would definitely say that's the case. It's like, it's actually been really interesting getting to know my faction mates, and it's one of those things. I'm not going to divulge anything personal, but like, we'll be on a chat just to, like, do some training, and I'll be like, wait a minute, what do you actually do for a living? Like, what is your job? Like,
yeah,
who are you dating? Like, stuff like that. That's been really lovely. And in general, like, even in addition to that, like, talking to fandoms and talking to the fandom, talking to people like you, talking to just like ghosting on Reddit or Facebook. Like, it's been really lovely. Like, it's a nice group of people. Like, I feel like it shouldn't be a shock that a group of people who just really love movies can also be a really lovely supportive community. Maybe, like, there are definitely versions of this where it can go totally top-sided, but in this particular case, I think, like, the Schmodown has done a really good job of cultivating a group of people who are just fun to talk to about movies.
Yeah, and I can attest to, on the flip side of that, on the fan side, exact same thing. Like,
right.
Honestly, I feel we only started this earlier in the year, and I feel with Lou, Dave, and Dan, I found 3 really good friends at this point.
Aww.
That's kind of how it is. Yeah,
especially in Canada, we're very sparse and few. It's starting to get popular in Canada, but I've been trying to show people this thing, Schmodown, and they're like, okay, that's good for you, Louis. It's like, God damn it, I'll never find people. So finding a community like that really shares. And I suck at trivia. Like, you put me in a competition, I couldn't do shit. But there's something about a competition that takes movies seriously is just blew my mind the first time.
Yeah,
I saw it. Right.
Yeah, and I've grown up. I'm a wrestling fan since birth. I've always loved trivia competitions to the point where I'm actually not allowed to play anymore because of how badly I beat people. And so the first time, well, no, seriously, actually, me versus 10 of my friends, and I beat them all. It was just they never allowed to play after that. But no,
big head, huh?
The first time I started Showdown Spectacular is like I finally found where I belong. It's really what it was. Finally, there's people out there who do like the stuff I do.
That,
And they weren't so far away.
There is nothing like that feeling of just like finding a group. It's honestly like I've been on the internet since the mid '90s because I really needed to go on the internet and find people to talk. I really needed to find people to talk about the X-Files with obsessively. And that I was like, I will learn how to use the internet just for this purpose. And it turned out to be about a valuable job skill. But also the feeling of finding people who also want to talk about the same thing that you want to talk about is just, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, because I've got my group of friends, they're family, but I mean, this type of stuff they're not interested in. So, and it's a major part of my life, which made it hard.
Yeah, it's fine that they're not interested in it because you find people who are interested in it.
Yeah, exactly.
And my girlfriend's starting to get used to it. I got my baby girl just got born, so she's 4 months old. She's gonna grow up with Schmodown. And like we watch matches together. Like I put myself in Indian position. I put her in the middle, and she just watches like, but she watches with me. So it's slowly creeping.
You're raising her right.
Yes. Oh yeah. Her name's Luna Jade.
Oh, Luna Jade.
Yeah, Luna Jade.
Jade. Okay.
Yeah. What's funny is the voice of one of our co-hosts actually makes her cry.
Yeah, every time he speaks, she just loses her mind for some odd reason. He's gonna kill you for you saying that, Soda. But hey, whatever. Talking about what's coming up next, your next match. Whew, that's gonna be an interesting one.
Oh yeah.
What are your thoughts? What's going in your thought process? What are you expecting here?
I mean, the thing is, having watched Adam Collins play, he's a machine. Like I say that as a compliment. I say that as like I feel like people who really crunch the numbers on my record will tell you I don't have a great accuracy level. I have a pretty good accuracy level, but I don't have precision, let's say. And Adam does. And so going into this match, I know that. Like, I know that I'm coming in like jazz, coming in like classical. And so that's about all I could say, really. Like, I'm gonna come. I can come in doing what I do the best I can do it, and he'll come in doing what he can do the best he can do it, and we'll see how that goes.
And like you say, it all comes with in your sense, the wheel slices, right? So it really depends on the strategy you put in and pure dumb luck sometimes, right? So
yeah, I mean, it really is like it really is just kind of whatever the wheel giveth and the wheel taketh, and but yeah, I think he's what I'm excited about him is that he's from the fan leagues, and I love the fact that the fan leagues have become such a feeder system for the Schmodown because there are incredible people coming out of it, like Marisol as well. I love the fact that this is a community where, if you have real talent, you can be noticed and you can be brought up in this way. Especially, and because they deserve it. Like, look at the goddamn run Collins has had. Like,
yeah, no kidding.
Like, as a rookie, he's been incredible, and so yeah, like. The fact that the fan leagues are here and the fan leagues are considered, I mean, like Oyama came in from it last year, so did Chance Ellison. Like, it's one of my favorite things about the Schmodown, is the fact that, like, it really can be anyone who can step up. You don't have to just know Ethan Irwin for like 20 years or something.
Yeah, that's one of the things I do like is that I see that it's like, that's something I can do.
which you do.
Which
you
I have.
do now.
I have done two fan league matches.
But you're still doing some,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, and it's something I never thought I'd do.
And it's just training and just internalizing every time a movie comes up. You just try to remember who directed it.
Yeah, like my thing is when I'm watching a movie, I'm on IMDb.
Yeah.
and maybe we'll see you on Schmodown one day. You never know.
Well, it's a little too expensive to fly me into there, so
probably still less expensive than Quebec to LA, bro. Now, before our other half usually more like getting to know Liz Shannon Miller for who she is in our Schmodown. But before we go to that, is there a competitor you haven't faced yet that you're just itching to get?
I mean, I gotta say, like Ethan, like I love him, and he's a dear friend, and I've danced at his wedding. I've fallen asleep on that couch that he's doing matches on now. I would be fascinated to be beaten by him. Like I don't like my odds against Ethan, but
really,
I would like to know is the point. Like I would like that experience, because also I know he is a gentleman of the sport, and he will be he will be fun to play. He will just it'll be a clean, fun match.
Yeah.
No matter what. So
speaking of Ethan, how did you two first meet? You said you've known each other for like what, 20 years?
Yeah. Oh gosh, here's the actual story. I think I'm always mixing it up. I'm pretty sure it's either. I think it's the spring of 2002, and I was in film school, and I directed a short film in which I cast, actually kind of sight unseen, a young woman named Meredith Berg as a dancer in this short film I was making, and we made the film, and she was wonderful in it. Actually, I remember, like, I hadn't been able to properly audition her because there was a whole confluence of events. But I remember afterwards, I was like, if I had actually auditioned her, I would probably have cast her as the lead in the film as opposed to a supporting character. And so after the film was done, this was basically when you made a student film, the way you paid your actors was by giving them a copy of it.
Oh, nice.
Real. Like that was their payment. It was like you got maybe you got like a granola bar on set, and then a copy of the movie.
Here's your proof.
Yeah, exactly. So I met up with them. I met up with Meredith and Ethan like at a coffee shop a couple blocks from my apartment to give her a copy of the film. And then about 3 or 4 years later, we were at the same house party, and we ran into each other, and we were like, we've met, we recognized each other, we knew each other, but we couldn't remember why. It took like a solid 2 hours of just like going through our entire life stories, trying to figure out how we knew each other. But anyways, but yeah, so we figured out, oh, that's right, you were in that student film I made, etc. And I don't know how interesting that story is, but that is the story of how I know Ethan and Meredith. Meredith and I are very close, and Ethan and I are also very close. But I've only ever known them as a couple, which is why I constantly mention Meredith when Ethan comes up. And Meredith deserves more credit for like really being Ethan's rock. Like she is, she is the unseen hand handing him the scotch when he successfully wins the match. Like she's a wonderful human being, and so is he. And I'm very, very, very blessed to have them as friends in my life.
Right on.
Yeah, but behind every great man is a powerful woman that usually doesn't get enough credit. But it's good to know. I even know like her name, right? I only know her as Ethan's wife, so at least I can put a name to the person.
Well, she did appear once in the showdown.
She did. She did a for all once.
Yeah.
So she's a badass director. You're gonna see her. You're gonna know her name she's going to be at a Schmodown competitor question soon, I'm sure.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Let's not ask Ethan that one.
Well, I mean, Ethan already gets asked anytime Ethan gets asked a Silver Pitchers question, I'm always like, really?
And Dan would say Shmominati, but again,
yeah.
Now, going into more of what you like, Elson Schmodown. If I understand correctly, you're a big TV fan. Is that correct?
I am. I mean, honestly, my whole joke is, if you want to train for the Schmodown, like cross-train by studying TV. But yeah, no, I honestly like. My job is I'm senior TV editor at Collider. I primarily focus on TV as a role professionally, and yeah, I love TV.
Now, in that case, I want to a couple quick fire questions if you're okay. All right, yep. Best season ever in any show.
Oh God, that's tough.
No, it's a good question though. I'm leaning towards season 2 of The West Wing.
Oh, okay. Which is very timely because they're doing their West Wing reunion right now.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to watch that. They better goddamn give me a screener. I mean, Mad Men season 1's a contender there too. Gosh, it's pick your favorite child sort of situation here.
Yeah.
But Battlestar season 2, actually. I haven't properly revisited Battlestar Galactica in a while, but that show had some moments. Anyways, yeah, and those are just a few options. Gun to my head, West Wing season 2 feels like a second one.
Best show that has the best show that's been canceled too soon.
Glow,
yes.
Firefly.
And no, I think actually, you know what? The thing with Firefly is that based on things that writers have said about what they were going to plan to do for future episodes, I think maybe it was an okay thing that Firefly.
Really?
I think Firefly is better as this beautiful tragedy.
And the movie was good, so at least we got that.
Yeah, canceled too soon. Tuca and Birdie, though it's been revived. It's this animated series. It's by the same people behind BoJack Horseman.
Okay.
And they haven't revived. They're going to be produced by Adult Swim for a second season, but that was definitely canceled too soon. That was a beautiful little show.
Late bloomer show, meaning it's been out for ages and you finally watched it and oh, now I get it.
Oh, that's fun. That's a fun one. Oh, gosh.
For that one, that's pretty much all of my favorite TV shows.
Me, it's Vikings. I saw Vikings way too late. Everyone kept talking about it and I just watched it.
Me, it's The Office and Parks and Rec, 2 of my favorite shows. I got those way too late.
God damn it. No, there's definitely one. I want to come back to this one because I feel like there's definitely something. Oh, Lucifer.
Okay.
Lucifer, I knew it had a fandom. I knew people really liked it. I had watched a little bit of it when it initially premiered, but this summer I caught up with it. I just got binged for the whole thing, and that when that show knows what the hell it's doing, it's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. And last rapid fire question for me. If there was a TV cast, so not the characters, the cast itself, a TV cast you can have a beer and spend a whole day with, which cast would it be?
What a fun question. I don't want to go back to the West Wing. I think the West Wing folks would be fun to hang out with. Yeah, I'm sticking with that.
TNG for me. I would love to, especially go.
Oh God! Did you see that there was during Star Trek Day a couple weeks ago? There was a panel where it was just Will Wheaton interviewing Patrick Stewart and
no, I didn't see it.
And basically in this panel, Will Wheaton is saying, "Thank you guys for being my family because my real family sucked."
Yeah.
And you were my dad's, and I love you. And it was just like it almost made me cry. It was just so beautiful. It was just
No kidding. If you hear about how his upbringing was, it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. No. And they were like, we were so happy to be your dads.
That's awesome.
I lied. This is the last fire question.
Sure.
Most overrated show.
That's mean. It's a mean question.
Okay, let's rephrase.
No, hold on. That doesn't mean I'm not going to answer it. So,
oh, okay.
She's just stating it's mean, Soda.
No, I just like, you know what? I feel like as much as I love Arrested Development for what it was, I think that the Netflix episodes kind of revealed the chinks in the armor, if you will.
I agree. I feel like almost the Netflix episodes kind of diminished what the first 3 seasons had accomplished.
Which is, by the way, like, and exactly, like, and that's actually a thing where, like, look, I am a studied a fan of the X-Files. I have spent way more years of my life than I care to admit spending time thinking about that show. And I've learned how to compartmentalize and, like, appreciate it, things for what they are. So when I say, like, you know, like, yeah, like with Arrested Development, like the latter seasons did really diminish it. And that's an achievement.
Yeah,
no kidding. Because it was the first 3 seasons were something special.
Yeah.
Especially first 2 seasons for me. The third one was like, okay, but you can see they were stretching it, right? After a point, like third season I found was stretched. I think I watched 2-3 episodes of the Netflix. I went like, no.
I saw the season 4 and I was like, I'm good.
Now, going to the closing part, we send this in advance because usually it takes a bit of thinking. But is there something that most people don't know of you that would be surprised or even shocked to know about you?
You know, I maybe I should have asked this in response to this prompt. I guess I just don't know what people think about me. Like,
okay. Well, I'll give you an example. Machine, we didn't know she used to work in a hospital as washing dishes, right? Smets is a huge musical fan.
It was pretty interesting to hear him see bust out All I Ask of You.
Yeah. So it can go really wide range.
Okay. Yeah, gosh. I mean, it really. I guess perhaps. I mean, the fact that I am a pretty big sports fan, like.
Okay, cool.
I honestly, I will say, like, because I'm on this show, my favorite sport to watch live is hockey.
Yes.
Because the sounds are so good.
Mm-hmm.
You get that, like the sound of the blades on the ice. It's like nothing else, and it's like the rhythm of it. It's beautiful.
Do you have any Canadian in you?
No, none that I know of. But I am from. I grew up in Northern California, so definitely a Sharks fan.
I was going to ask what's your team? Canucks fans through and through. Even though I just love hockey in general.
Let me tell you my favorite sports memory, which is I had a friend who had a line on really good Kings tickets here in LA. And so she and I went to a game together. And at the game, it was Kings versus the Canucks. And Joshua Jackson was there.
Oh, yeah.
He was wearing a custom Mighty Ducks jersey with his name on it.
This is the old school Mighty Ducks jersey, or
it's Joshua Jackson. He can get his hands on stuff like that. And he was rooting for the Canucks. And at one point, like somebody he was drinking beer with his friends, like you do at a hockey game, and he definitely somebody in the crowd near us was hassling him, and he definitely I don't want to be indelicate or because I love Joshua Jackson, but he was definitely gave back as good as they got.
I would expect it from a good Canadian hockey fan.
But it was one of those things where it's like he gave it back, and it was just beautiful. It was just like, this is great. So
I want to echo your sentiments about the sounds. It is definitely better to watch live. When I lived in Vancouver with some of my best friends, I took one of them to his first hockey game, and that's what he said. He's like, I don't know if I can go back to watching it on TV. It's just nothing like it.
It's like, I mean, I don't even know if I like watching hockey on TV, but I've loved the times I've seen it live.
Yeah, there is something special. Like I brought my girlfriend for her first match too. I'm a Canadiens fan, Montreal all the way. Even though we completely suck and probably next 20 years won't still win a Stanley Cup, even though there's no goalie in front, we'll still won't score. But I brought her first game against Colorado, and it's true. Like the ambience, especially Montreal, were hardcore. So the sound in the arena is just insane.
Yeah.
You don't have that and on TV, right?
No, that's one of the things I miss most about living in the big city is being able to go to the games and being with the fans and just soaking it all in.
Yeah. Now, for the juicy question here, let's say aliens are coming, they're taking away all movies. They're nice enough to give us a 1 week warning, right? So what are the 3 movies you would watch to celebrate the final goodbye to movies?
This is a lovely question. I love this question. And I appreciate you also giving me warning about it.
Everyone does.
Yeah, because the first time we didn't, and then I think we saw Cyborg melt down. Yeah.
I mean, I will say that it kind of comes down to the fact that I have like my quartet of favorite films. So really, it's just about picking which one of those I don't pick. You got to go All About Eve.
Okay.
It is a beautifully written movie, and it's so dry and dark and sad and character filled. It's wonderful. And then I also love The Matrix. Like I'm like The Matrix. I think it's one of those things where it's like in the number 2 slot is basically it's either The Matrix or it's Star Wars: A New Hope. And I feel like in some ways The Matrix is building on what A New Hope does in such an interesting way that as much as I love it, I love that movie so much because I'm a human being with a heart. So
well, then I must have no heart because that movie does not connect with me. And I have tried.
Oh, that's fair. No, I mean, look, we all have our things.
Yeah. He's a Vancouver fan. We can forgive him. Yes, but bring it on, sort of.
The point is that The Matrix is a beautifully made movie, and
I'll agree with you on that.
And especially even more so now, actually, like just knowing what Lana and Lily were like processing at that time, and like still working through, and like the fact that they put that into the film in such a subversive, fascinating way. I love it. And then. You know what? This is such a stupid answer, but I love it. So when I got it was 2009, I guess. I bought my PS3, and I bought it because I was like, I got a gift card from work, and I was like, well, I want to get a Blu-ray player, and I also wanted to have the vague option of having video games as to play. I'm not a huge video gamer, but I do enjoy the occasional adventure. So I got my PS3 in like at the end of November, beginning of December. So I said to friends and family, hey, for Christmas, if you want to buy me something, like if you want to buy me like a present, like buy me like a movie that I want to cherish forever. Like buy me like that, like a Blu-ray copy of something that will be part of my permanent collection, like library sort of thing. And my brother bought me Dude, Where's My Car?
Oh.
Sweet. You know what?
Then I haven't seen the movie in 20 years.
But the thing is though, like he bought me Dude, Where's My Car? Totally just to goof on me. For making the request of like only buy me important films that I want to add to my permanent library forever. But you know what? That movie kind of fucks.
Yeah, but they're so Ashton Kutcher at his dumbest and at the same time, like for me the part like and then it's like it will always stick in my brain, you know.
I watched that at the age that you're supposed to watch that movie at, and I'm just like, what is this?
And when I watched it, I wasn't stoned enough, so
I wasn't.
I have never been stoned while watching that film, but you know, at the very least, the memory of why I own that film, which is my brother goofing on me, is enough reason for me to enjoy watching.
And honestly, I think that is probably the perfect reason to have it on that. It's got a memory connected to it.
Yeah, no, and I think honestly, and this is a big part of the Schmodown that we always come back to is like, you know, a movie will come up and it'll be you'll get the answer right, or it'll be more important to you because it has that personal connection.
Yeah,
because movies are personal. Movies are a part of our lives.
Yeah, well, that's why like it's funny to hear Ben Bateman say that Point Break is his favorite movie because it's the same thing. His brother's the one that introduced it to
him. And same thing for me, like in my list, I got Stargate. Not the best movie, but my mom was obsessed with Stargate. And it was one of the like fond memories. Like we went from Stargate, then the Stargate show came on, and she's like, it's the other worlds, not just the one. And it started a love in me for Stargate, anything sci-fi. So not the best movie, but definitely my list.
And for me, mine is Tommy Boy, because I was introduced to that as a young kid by my uncle. And I've loved it ever since. Like I've got that memory of it.
Do you mind if I ask, with your mom, did she have a crush on Kurt Russell or James Spader?
No, not at all. She was just a hardcore sci-fi. We actually, me and my girlfriend had a conversation about this today. We were comparing a bit. We're watching when we were young, and I came to the conclusion. I just watched sci-fi, and she just watched sitcoms. I barely watched any sitcoms, and she barely watched any sci-fi. So it was because it was in that realm of like Star Trek, Star Wars, Stargate, anything with Star. Apparently, we watched.
Sure. Yeah, I only asked because my mother was. I watched Willow a whole bunch of times when I was young because my mother was a very big Val Kilmer fan.
Nice.
All
right. Well, this closes out our episode of Norton Consultations with Lightning Liz Shannon Miller. All right. So if people want to find you on the social medias or any other projects you're on, where can they find you?
I am at Lizlet, Lizlet on Twitter. I don't really use Instagram, but I do have an account at Liz Shannon. And yeah, you can read me writing about television at collider.com. And my general website is lizshannonmiller.com.
All right. And you, Soda, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram at soda_the_saxman. You can always find me lurking around the Schmoes of the North channel, either on Schmodown Night Canada or on the show occasionally. You can also find me on the Media Sweaties Network hosting Get Sweaty, where once a week we break down the movie news, sports news, and then we do our own top 5 of whatever it is. And then you can also find me Thursdays on show Shooting the Breeze, which is kind of like this, but we just talk to whoever about whatever we want.
Yeah, and the episode I'm on where we're talking really interesting philosophy, how metaphysical is dark matter and our soul is probably connected to each other.
Only come up with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I smoke too much weed and I think about too much deep things.
A little bit of a known fact, the reason how this show came about, how this channel came about, he was high on weed.
I was like, hey, there's no Canadian page for Schmodown.
Yeah,
we'll create one. All right. So look, if you're not subscribed to the show, what you doing? Click subscribe, click that notification, follow our episodes. We got Norton Consultations, and we have Schmodown Night Canada, which we review every Schmodown episode that is out there on YouTube. All right. Again, thank you very much, Liz, for being on here. It was a real treat. And bonsoir.